What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bluegrass State of Mind, the show where three college roommates talk life, sports, and all the ridiculous things that happen in an apartment we like to refer to as Room 302. We're bringing you stories, hot takes, and the kind of late-night debates that probably should have stayed in the group chat.
So grab your headphones, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride through our past college life, sports, and everything in between. Let's get into it. This is Bluegrass State of Mind.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. This past weekend, we had the NFL 2025 draft. It was a little bit of, there's a lot to happen that a lot of people wasn't expecting, which we'll get into. But the first thing we want to start off tonight is we want to talk about some of the Kentucky boys that were taken off the draft. I think some of us might need to stop calling the Bills Mafia and then maybe referencing them to the Kentucky Mafia. You got a lot of Kentucky boys headed to the Bills. So Colton, I want to hand it right over to you to kind of talk about some of those guys. So take it away.
Yeah, so right off the bat, first round draft pick, Maxwell Hairston, cornerback for Kentucky, very solid player. I think he allowed 3 touchdowns, I think, in his career, but had 3 interceptions for return touchdowns. So he had as many return touchdowns himself as he allowed at Kentucky. And I mean, did y'all see him on draft night? He was literally hugging every single person to come through. Like he was the lightest guy in the draft room. So I enjoyed watching him. And so the Bills drafted him at the end of their first round. And then I think in round 3, maybe round 4, but they selected Deon Walker, which to me is a steal. Because before this past season, Walker was projected like a top 10.
Yeah.
Guy, 6'7" D lineman. He played throughout an injury this past year with a back injury. He wasn't able to do a whole lot in the combine. So he slipped. But I mean, they got a guy with potential first, top 10 ability. I mean, 6'7", he's gonna be the biggest defensive lineman by far in the draft. I mean, he's massive. So if he can really increase some agility, that's the only thing. When you're that tall and he plays like the inside, it's really hard to, accelerate through because you're so big. But I mean, man, he's an athlete. That's a big pick. So and definitely, obviously now they have Ray Davis already. So you've got 3 Kentucky boys, and the Bills really, I mean, their defense, they just, they need to slim up their defense and all of a sudden, they're right back at it. So Kentucky boys are going to play a big role for the Bills this year, and obviously they're going to be a contender. So it'll be exciting. I'll definitely be paying more attention to I love watching Josh Allen anyhow, but I'm going to definitely be paying a lot more attention to the Bills this year just to see the Kentucky boys and hopefully succeed. But yeah, shout out to them.
Mason, you got anything on that?
Yeah, like Colton said, I mean, pretty cool that we kind of almost seems like we become a pipeline for the Bills, right? I think a lot of that has to do with kind of Mark Stoops' style, a lot of hard nosed way his programs are run, and I think the Bills are kind of like that too. So they like to see that. You mentioned Deon Walker coming off, kind of fighting through an injury this year. Maxwell Harrison did the same thing. He didn't have as good of a year this year as he did the year before, but I mean that year before he was. I think that was the year before he had 2 or 3 touchdowns returned, or 2 or 3 interceptions returned for a touchdown. And I mean, doing that in the SEC, giving up as many touchdowns as you had interceptions returned for a touchdown is pretty impressive. So I think that honestly, they got to steal with both of those guys. Honestly, like you said, Colton, he was projected top 10 before the season started, and I think, like you said, the injury, but I think a lot of that probably had to do with our season this year. And some guys just weren't really trying to fight through that and play as hard as they normally would. But I agree with you. That'll be, I'm a Packers fan, but I love Josh Allen. So that'll probably be, kind of my second favorite team that I kind of tune into and try to keep up with throughout the NFL season this year. So really excited to kind of see what both of them can do. Hopefully start getting a little bit of name for Kentucky coming into the NFL.
Yeah, it seems just like a good fit for him as well. Especially, I think Maxwell Hairston. I think that he's going into a Bills defense that kind of middle of the pack. Not really blows you away, but never really towards the bottom. So I think he's going to get his opportunities.
Always seemed to be the thing that cost them in the playoffs, though.
Yeah.
Right. Josh Allen gets into these shootouts, and you're just like,
And taking him with his speed, I mean, we didn't even throw that out there, but I mean, I think he had the fastest 40 in this draft, didn't he?
yeah.
Was it a
I mean,
4.3 or was it?
Yeah.
I think it was like a
So,
4.27 or something.
Yeah.
It was something ridiculous. But putting that kind of speed there at your cornerback position's got to help. So I'll be interested to see. I like the Bills. I like Josh Allen, like I said. So I'll be rooting for him.
And it was also really cool what Colton mentioned about Maxwell. I mean, it was genuine. I mean, it wasn't fake. You could tell. I mean, like some of the guys was just dabbing him up, but I mean, he was smiling ear to ear. He was like the first person up, and it was almost like the cameraman was almost more focused on Maxwell than he was the actual players that were getting drafted. Because I mean, it's not really something you see. I mean, you usually see guys, like give them a handshake, somewhat of a hug, whatnot, but. I mean, he was genuinely happy for every person that went ahead of him. So I'm glad that he got his moment as well in the green room. However, though, that wasn't the headline of the NFL draft, sadly. And obviously, people may not like us talking about it, but I mean, it's got to be talked about, and it's because every analyst that I have watched thus far has said this is one of the biggest, I guess, stories of any NFL draft that comes to their mind. So as we know, Shedeur Sanders was playing at Colorado under his dad. He was projected a first-round pick. Well, he ended up going in the 5th round as the 144th pick in the 2025 NFL draft. He was selected by the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns now have a lot of quarterbacks. And before we even talk about that, but let's just dive a little bit further. So he was selected the 6th, I think it was the 6th quarterback in the draft, wasn't it? The 5th or 6th? I think it was the 6th, but I had some of the guys right. So it was he drafted before him was obviously Cam Ward at number 1 to the Titans, Jackson Dart to the Giants, Tyler Shaw to the Saints, Jalen Milroe to the Seahawks, and Dylan Gabriel also to the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to kind of just give my thoughts on it, and then I'm going to send it over to you also. On our last episode, I said that I think Shedeur Sanders was actually maybe better than Cam Ward, and I still stand by that. I do. I'm not saying the future, like his upside's not as bright as Cam Ward, but for Shedeur Sanders to fall to the 5th round, I think is utterly ridiculous. The guy must have had terrible interviews. There must have been some other things that kind of was behind the scenes that nobody really knows. And I get that. I do. I do get that you want to get a guy in a locker room who's going to want to learn and who's going to bring a good atmosphere. But let's just be honest. We're talking about adults. We're talking about guys who have different characters. At the end of the day, you're there to win games. And I think that an attitude problem can only go so far when you're talking about a program like in a National Football League. Because I think that, let's just say he goes the 2nd round, comes in with a big ego. I think that can be fixed. Not with all guys, but I think that can be fixed. Give 3 or 4 years, and I know this ain't football, but I mean, just take Bryson DeChambeau. I know it's not football, but I mean, look at the ego Bryson DeChambeau had when he came in to the PGA. Now look at him. Everybody loves him. Shedeur Sanders, I don't even know. How old is he? I'm going to guess he's, 21?
Yeah,
maybe?
probably.
Like, he's not even a grown adult. I mean, or he is, but like he's not had those experiences. I mean, he's been under his dad's wing every step of the way. I mean, at every college, his dad's been there. He's going to grow and mature, I think. Like I said, I could be totally wrong, but I think that's kind of what this draft kind of felt like. It kind of felt like, here we're going to send you a message. There's going to be a lesson learned out of how you and your father have acted, and that's what I really think that was happening, because there's no way, when I'm looking at game evidence, when I'm watching film, when I watch college football on Colorado, to see the offensive line that Shedeur Sanders had and the wins and the throws that he kept making, not year after year, but game after game, it makes no sense to me how that guy falls into the 5th round. Now, I also understand that some teams, they just don't need another quarterback. But my goodness, the Browns have 5 of them now. You could have picked up Shedeur Sanders and used him as trade bait at some point or something. I mean, for 32 teams to pass up on him for 4 rounds, it makes no sense to me. I don't understand it. Mason, what do you got?
I mean, I don't understand it either. I said on our on our last episode, I think ability wise, he is the best quarterback in this draft. Now, mentally, I don't know that. And I've read a lot of things that who knows if the stories are true, about his interviews and things like that. Who knows what all BS is being put out there and what's true and what's not. We won't know. But I I just think part of the biggest problem is his dad needs to take a step back, right? I think his dad has a much louder voice than he does and influences him so heavily that, I mean, yeah, Shedeur, I mean, he's arrogant, he's cocky. He knows he's good, right? Which sometimes is not a bad thing, but I don't feel like he says some of the things that his dad has said in the past or still says, things like that. So I, I'm with you, Dylan. I mean, it's kind of surprising to me, and for the Browns to take Dylan Gabriel first, and then you want to take Shedeur Sanders, a round or two later. I saw something pop up today. You know that Shedeur Sanders is almost favored to be their starting quarterback right now going into the season. It's like plus 115 for Kenny Pickett, and it's like plus 150 for Shedeur Sanders to be the starting quarterback. And it's like there was something going on. Obviously, we're never going to know the full story, but ability wise, I've seen some other things too from analysts and things saying that they didn't think he had it ability wise. I disagree. Like you said, Dylan, I mean, watching him behind that line and what he did at Colorado, I think that that's something that he may not have it right away, like you said, but I think he definitely has the skills that you could develop him into being a good quarterback at the NFL level. And I, I don't get why that many teams would pass up on him. And another thing, like you take all these other quarterbacks before him, like I saw a stat on Jackson Dart, for example. Jackson Dart, like 94% of his touchdowns this year came against opponents that were not like great opponents. I saw against like Georgia, Alabama. I don't know. It was like three top schools, that he played this year. He had 2 touchdowns, and then it was like Georgia State or whoever else they played. He had 18 touchdowns, and it's like I know Shedeur may not have played that quality of teams throughout the year, but look at who all he had compared to these other guys that or these other quarterbacks and what they had in front of them. And he had great wide receivers, but the biggest thing for me was Shadeur's line. And I mean, as soon as he got the ball every time, he's just running, sideline, running for his life every time. He's still out there balling. So my biggest thing, I think a lot of it has to do with kind of his dad and the way that they've handled things the last couple of years, which really sucks for him. But I feel like he was good about it through the whole thing. That fake prank call. Did y'all see that come out? Did y'all see where the kid issued an apology about it too?
He was the defensive coordinator's son for the Falcons. You see that?
I thought,
Yes.
listen,
That was the
I
guy
thought
that
it
was the
was.
interim head coach at the Jets this year, wasn't it? The Jeff Ulbrich, wasn't it?
I don't even know.
I
Once
don't
they
know.
got
Was
rid
it?
of, he stepped in. He was the defensive coordinator for the Jets, and he stepped in to be the interim head coach. He's a son,
Might have
apparently.
been. Yeah, but I mean, like even that, like he handled that well. I feel like he's been mature about this whole process since
Yeah.
this has happened. So hopefully that's showing. Maybe this taught him something. Maybe he can learn from it and grow from it and step in and kind of change his mindset. So we'll see.
Yeah.
What were some of your thoughts on it?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to come at this from a different angle. I agree with both of y'all's. Look, he's better than a 5th-round quarterback. I agree with that because to me, his pocket awareness is something that is very good about him. I think he's got enough athleticism to him that he can, he don't have the strongest arm, but he is pretty accurate with the ball. So pocket awareness and accuracy is a big thing in the NFL, right? People are looking a lot for athletes these days, runners of the ball, who stuff
The
like
dual
that,
threat.
right? But the guys who win the Super Bowls in the last 25 years are the most accurate, true pocket passers, really. I mean, you can't name there really hasn't been. Mahomes and Hurts are the 2 closest things to a running quarterback, and neither one of them are just big time runners. Like they have a few, like Mahomes isn't set up for a run. Like he runs some, but there's no plays set for him to run. Hurts it a little bit, but for the most part, your quarterbacks for the last 20 years have been, true pocket passers that win Super Bowls. With that being said, I really think that this was a product outside of the few things that y'all have named already, also, of he's in a place where teams, this is probably the most teams in the NFL that's ever had their true starting quarterback that they want at least for the next 3 years on their roster currently. Right? So, like, if there was literally only 5 teams in this draft that could have truly used a quarterback that could have the potential of maybe starting this coming year. The Titans, obviously, they took Cam Ward at 1. So then you take them out. So then that leaves the Giants, the Saints, the Browns, and the Steelers. Only 4. Well, the Giants went and got Russell Wilson in the offseason. Okay, so you're talking about a Super Bowl winning quarterback you brought in. Okay, well then you take you leave the Browns, who ended up getting Shedeur, and then the Saints, who have Derek Carr. I'm not saying Derek Carr is anything special, but he has been a proven starter when healthy in the NFL for the last 8 to 10 years. So, and then the Steelers, they just have a certain culture, right? And so they may be planning a certain thing. So other than that, the other 27 teams in the NFL have the guy that they want for the next 3 years at least. So, they're not looking, right? And so if you're a team and you're sitting there thinking, and besides like a Stafford or Geno Smith, most of those guys on the rosters are like young. There's 6 guys from the NFL class last year that will be starters this year. So, why go get a backup to chance? And the thing is, knowing the drama that comes with Shedeur, like, why even risk that, right? You can't even bring him in as a backup because what's it going to be about? Oh, the one time that your quarterback has one bad game, the media is going to say, "Oh, time to bring in Shedeur," right? It's time to bring in Shedeur. You don't want that as a team, right? If you know you have your guy, they don't even consider him. So, and so then once the Giants, we saw what happened. Y'all read about what happened in the Giants interview, whether or not that was true or not. So the Giants decided to pass on. They took Dart. Okay, so that the Titans took Ward. They took Dart. You're limited now. You're down to 3 teams. And so obviously, I thought it was a surprise that the Saints took the Slough kid out of Louisville. I think that was my biggest surprise.
That's what I was going to ask you next.
I don't know that but to me, they just that was the biggest surprise to me for the Saints. If they were going to go ahead and take a QB, it surprised me that they took him over Shedeur. I could see the Dart. Like, Dart was gaining traction before the draft ever happened. There was a lot of guys loved this combine. They just loved his style. I guess, he probably interviewed well. He did all this stuff. So I could see that, but I didn't see the Tyler Slough kid getting drafted over him. Then at that point, when the Browns took Gabriel, I thought at that point, Shedeur's not getting drafted. I thought the Rams maybe need a replacement for Stafford in a few years. The Raiders, well, like when the Raiders didn't draft him, Geno's got 2 or 3 years. And I talked to y'all about how Brady was like a big voice for Shedeur, and they had a good connection, like he and Prime and all this stuff. And they had several picks in those 3rd and 4th rounds, and they didn't take him. And so they were going to roll with Aiden O'Connell as their backup. I was like, oh, something's going on. Like, if Brady hasn't been able to step in and something, like, he really did something in these interviews to make the people mad. But I do think it's a product. And I also think about, like I told y'all, Cam Ward was going to be the 7th best rated passer in last year's draft class. So what was Shedeur been? 8th, 9th, 10th in last year's class? So let me think about this too. 2022, the draft class, first quarterback taken, Kenny Pickett to the Steelers. Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder. There was 9 QBs taken in that draft. 8 of them play for a different team now. Since 2022, the only one that still plays for their current team, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. Right? The last pick in the draft is the only one of those QBs. So I think a lot of programs also said, okay, well, this draft class is very similar to that one, QB-wise. All those guys are done, moved on, different teams, backups. Next year's draft class is loaded in the quarterback. Like, why even waste a pick on these guys if we know they're truly not going to be here past a year or 2? And I think a lot of teams did that. I thought, heck, let's go get a guy that's actually going to be here more than 5 years because we don't think any of these QBs are going to be it.
Mm-hmm.
And that may have been it. So I think there's multiple factors to it. There could have been some collusion. There's going to be all kinds of stories. At the end of the day, though, we knew that they wasn't a strong QB class. There wasn't but a handful of teams that had to have a QB. And those two things combined for like a, if I've got a guy that I know will be a starter for me for the next 5 years compared to a QB that I think will be out the door next year, why not take the starter for the next 5 years? So I think that happened, but it'll be a storyline for a while.
Yeah.
It brings up. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. You good?
I was going to bring up something else if you were going to talk about, finish that kind of off.
Me or Coach?
Yeah. No,
go
you.
ahead.
Were you about to say something about all that?
Well, I was going to just add, I was going to say, well, there's two things. I think one, I think that Shedeur Sanders fell into a franchise that is the worst franchise that he could have fallen into when you're talking about quarterbacks staying. And because, I mean, you look, I mean, the Browns, they can't keep a quarterback. They can't produce a quarterback that is relevant at all. I mean, and I just hate that for him because he might fall in just to that being, that might happen to him. I mean, like, just simple put. And then I also, well, I almost lost my train of thought. Yeah, I was talking about that. Go ahead, Mason. I might come back to it, but if that's what you was going to harp on.
No, so I was just going to bring out something else. Colton, you're kind of talking about, the quarterbacks in this class being a weak draft class and all that. Did y'all see what the Giants offered the Titans? I mean, y'all are Titans fans. Did y'all see what they offered them trade-wise? They offered them to swap picks for this year.
Yeah,
so they would have got the third pick. They would have got their next year's first-round pick and more picks that they didn't even talk about. And I was just like, why would you not do that? Because I don't
that's what I
think
said
Cam
on
Ward's
that
the
last
franchise quarterback.
right on that last episode. That's what I said with Tyler that I thought the Titans should do. Like trade because I mean you could have got Abdul Carter, who is a generational next 10 year defensive line like stud, like that, and so I get it. The pressure that the top picks feels when you haven't been able to get the quarterback spot right, the pressure that you feel at drafting a quarterback, because if the Titans decide to do that, the Giants trade up, get Cam Ward, and then he ends up being the freaking next Patrick Mahomes, then you're like, wow, this guy, you had your chance. I get the pressure, but at the same time, knowing next year's draft, like the worst case scenario is you could have rode with Will Levis and either found out two things. You either found out he's your franchise guy, he comes out and he crushes it this year, you succeed, or you stink again and you're in a top 10 pick for a loaded QB class next year. Though
Trade up and get Arch Manning, or,
right? I mean, you have multiple drafts. I'm like you, no, it's disappointing.
Yeah, I see that. Like we didn't know the details, before, but it came out afterwards, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I remember what I was going to say. Now I was talking about because he fell into the Browns organization, but I was sitting there thinking as well on the opposite of that. I think the best case scenario for Shedeur was to have been drafted by the Steelers. I really do.
I agree.
With the culture that they have there. Now, that would have been the best case scenario for Shedeur. It wouldn't have been the best case scenario for the Steelers. And I think that's why you didn't see them even, because, I mean, Aaron Rodgers hasn't even committed or, said anything about, nothing's came out. So, right now the Steelers are looking at Mason Rudolph, right? Does he go back?
Thompson as the backup, yeah.
So, like, I just think that that's what he needs. He needs a good coach like Mike Tomlin, who's about culture, who's about respect, who's about, discipline. And, I don't know. I just go back to, I think that it kind of was just a system thing that started happening. Like Colton, like I agree with everything. Like teams just didn't need him. But then again, he's not 5th round material. So there's a fine balance. So, let's continue on with kind of this NFL draft into our next segment. So, out of all the players ever drafted, what players do we expect to have an immediate success? Right off the bat, coming into next year's NFL regular season. Mason, do you have one or two players, maybe more, but that kind of are standouts in your mind?
Yeah, I'll just start out with one, and then I'll let y'all go, and we can circle back. But my first one that I think is going to be I think he's a great pick. I think he's a great fit for the system. Is Emeka Egbuka. I think him going into Tampa Bay, being surrounded by Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I mean, you saw what he did at Ohio State, surrounded by other good receivers, right? I mean, that's kind of a three-headed monster they have building down there in Tampa Bay. You know, I know Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are getting old, but you allow him to learn under them for 2 or 3 years until you know they're done and retire. And I think this first year he's going to take so much off of those two as well. You know, I think he's going to help Baker Mayfield out a lot. I mean, I just think he's got perfect fit in that system with those two around him, and that was my biggest. When I saw him go there, I was like, man, that is a perfect spot for him to go. I think he could really thrive in there. You know, I was looking at some. I mean, I might take him as the rookie wide receiver. You know, most yards, most catches this year because I think he's just going to ball out this year. I really do. It may not be humongous numbers his first year, but I think he's just going to have so much open for him with all those other guys around him and be able to thrive in that system down there. So that's kind of my first one. I'll throw it over to one of y'all and let y'all kind of talk about what you think. But that was the one that really stood out to me as far as like first round picks go and offensive side of the ball.
Go ahead, Colton.
Yeah, I like Luther Burden to the Bears. The wide receiver from Missouri. I mean, at one point he was considered like the top guy in the draft for a long time. Then Missouri started to kind of have a little bit of a downfall just at the very end of their season, just a little bit, and he kind of disappeared a few games, and you hadn't heard a lot about him. But man, and they got Loveland from Michigan, which surprised me that Warren wasn't the first tight end taken off the bat, but they liked Loveland. But man, now your offense is looking at Loveland, Burden, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze. I mean, loaded. I mean, they've redone their offensive line. Like the Bears that division is about to be unreal. But I mean, stacked. But I like Luther Burden. I think that the Bears are about to be a lethal offense now with being shoot, I don't forgot his name, but Ben Johnson as the new head coach just coming from the Lions, and now you've got 4 stud wide receivers and a stud tight end. And I think William. Now you'll really see this will be the defining year for Caleb Williams because I think you saw flashes of his highlights, right? Like you saw flashes of like ability there. It's just whether or not he's got the mindset to like lock in, to really learn, mentally to take it all in and be like mature about it. But if he does, man, Bears, watch out for the Bears.
When you said the Bears, it just made me think about Clay Matthews. Like,
right off the bat.
Right off the bat. I work with
That's right, baby.
I work with a guy who is a big Bears fan. And I went up to him that morning. I was like, dude, that was insane. I said, he's like, man, that made me so mad. I can't believe he done. I thought it's hilarious. But anyways, so the guy, and on our last episode, I wanted to, because we were talking about guys that were kind of sleepers, but this guy's not a sleeper. I mean, he was a top 10 pick, but one guy that I really like, and I know that Tyler Etheridge said that he liked North Carolina's running back better, but I really like Ashton Genty's game. I do, and I think that he's coming into a team that doesn't have a running back any strong. I mean, they have Raheem or whatever, however you say his name.
Sure.
Yeah, Mozart, however you want to say it, pronounce it. But the Raiders' offensive line is not the best. So, I mean, that's one thing that would be like his success. But as far as just an immediate impact, not being successful, like in a sense that like he's doing fantastic. But I think he's going to come right in and he's going to have a full load on his plate. I truly think that he's going to make that team better. He kind of hits me as kind of a mix of a David Montgomery and the Jamar Gibbs. Like he's quicker than David Montgomery, but he's built like David Montgomery, not as quick as Jamar
More physical Gibbs.
Yeah. So he's a mixture of both of those guys I see. I mean, he's a freak of nature. I mean, if you've seen any of his workouts, I don't know if y'all watched any of them, but I'm just like, this dude's a monster. He's not very big, but I mean, I really like his game, and I think that the opportunity is going to be there. Obviously, like I said, the offensive line is not good, so they'll have to really protect him for him to have actual success. But I like him coming in, and I'm gonna give one more and send it back to y'all's way. I think whether they're bad or they're good, it doesn't matter. I think Abdul Carter is going to come in and make an immediate impact. I mean, the dude, his game is just generational. I mean, he's Micah Parsons' twin. I mean, everything he does, he's so quick. His first step, uh, he's just really good. There's not much more I'm gonna say about him, but I think Abdul Carter might have a good chance. I wonder what have y'all looked at the way too early standings for the rookie
Like
of the
rookie of
year?
the year.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he probably
Yeah.
has. I mean, if he can get really healthy, obviously he's got to get healthy. But I mean, I think he's just a really good player.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll talk about one more. First thing, I want to talk about my boy McMillan that I talked about last episode. I said before, I think he could be a stud. I think he's kind of in a bad position now down in Carolina, so I don't know if that's going to pan out exactly for him in the first year. I think it's a good target for Bryce Young to have,
I think
right?
it'll be interesting. Yeah, I will say Bryce, like the end of the season last year, after Bryce Young got benched for Andy Dalton, and when he come back,
Yep.
which is what a lot of those young QBs need, right? Some time to learn behind veterans, to actually gather themselves, see the game from a different angle before they go out there and see it themselves. And the Panthers were competitive there the last few games, won a few games, and Bryce Young looked a lot better. So maybe, that it might be, you never know in that situation.
Yeah, I hope so because I think he can be a stud. I mean, he's just such a big body and he catches everything that comes his way. But my other one, on the defensive side of the ball, obviously, Abdul Carter, but another kind of edge player, Mykel Williams out of Georgia. He went to the 49ers. You put him on the other side of Bosa, Bosa's probably going to be getting a lot of double teams. You let him go one-on-one with guys. I think he's going to have a big impact. Probably, I think he'll have a big impact his rookie year, but especially, once he can get in there and learn behind Bosa as well, being able to come in there on that defensive line, 49ers have always kind of been the last few years known for their defensive line and getting pressure on the quarterbacks and things. So I think he's a perfect fit there. I think he's going to help them out and be able to come in and provide immediately for them. So I think he probably immediately jumps into a starting role on the other side of Bosa there in San Francisco.
Yeah, I like those. The one other or the two other that I would like, I like the Will Campbell, the offensive tackle to the Patriots, and that's because Mike Vrabel is now the coach there, and they picked up Campbell and Travion Henderson, the running back, and they went and rebuilt their defensive line, their offensive line. Like, I mean, when Vrabel was at Tennessee, that's the thing. Tennessee never had the most talent, and they really suffered a ton of injuries, but they were always competitive. With him there, you just didn't want to see the time because you knew they were going to play tough, and this Patriots team is going to be tough again.
And Drake May, I mean, he might have a breakout year,
right? And that they got him some weapons. Stephon Diggs, if he comes back healthy, right now he's at the Patriots. So I mean, yeah, I think Campbell is a perfect type of offensive lineman for Vrabel, and Henderson's a good hard nosed running back for them. But the other one, he came later on in the fourth or fifth round. But there's been talks of TJ Watt possibly getting traded from the Steelers, and they went and got Jack Sawyer from Ohio State. I don't know how much y'all ever watched. Obviously, I've had to watch quite a few Ohio State games, but Sawyer is a beast defensive edge, and he's very similar to a type of TJ Watt, just not as much of a bigger name. But I don't know how much, but that game against Texas that they played in the Final Four. I mean, when Ewers or whatever's down there, I mean, he's the one that strip sacked him. I mean, he caused, disruption there, and then returned it back for a touchdown after
Oh,
the
that
sack.
was his roommate, wasn't it?
Yeah, that guy that's who the Steelers drafted. Which right now TJ Watt's on the, so you put him on the other side of TJ Watt. I mean, it's a duo that.
Didn't they take Will Howard too?
They took Will Howard. And here's the thing, you're talking about the national championship winning QB. He's got the size, he's got the arm. I think some of his decision making's a little hit or miss. But now when you got 5-star receivers everywhere. It's hard for you to not try to fit some stuff in and not try to take some extra chances. He's going to be in a good culture. I just worry Steelers. Look, ever since Roethlisberger though, they've not nailed the QB spot, so that does worry me a little bit. Now this is the most help they're ever going to have: DK Metcalf and George Pickens. Yeah, they got the guy from North Carolina, the running back that we talked about, the Hampton. So I mean, they actually do have a. This is the most offense they're going to have. Howard might be the guy that they turn to. I mean, they might say, hey, why don't we? This guy might fit perfectly in our system, and he might be the next future, franchise QB for the Steelers. But we'll see that. Yeah.
All right, well, let's shift gears from the NFL to the NBA. Currently, we are, I guess you're at late round of the first round of the playoffs. I think that for the majority, these series have been very good. There's only been so far one sweep. You had the Thunder sweep the Grizzlies, but it was more competitive the last two games than it was the first two. The Nuggets and Clippers are tied 2-2. Minnesota is leading the Lakers 3-1, but every game's been close. The Rockets Warriors is 2-1. Boston's 3-1, but it's been very competitive games there. The Knicks Pistons, very competitive games, 3-1. The Pacers and Bucks are 2-1 and currently playing, and then the Cavaliers and Heat are 3-0. That's really the only series, the Cavs Heat game, that's only had one close game, I feel like. But before we talk about the Lakers, is there any other? Because I'm going to go in on this one, but I'm going to allow you all. Is there any that you are looking at that's kind of shocking? Or are you just been a great series? I do want to say I have really, really enjoyed the Knicks Pistons series so far. It's 3-1, I know, but all the games have been very good. I'm really enjoying that series. Any series that y'all want to go into detail or talk about?
Yeah. Did y'all watch the Warriors and Rockets? I'll tell you what Steph Curry did last night was incredible. I mean, that man, we talked about it, a couple episodes ago or whenever it was, but I mean, that man just keeps showing. For me, he just keeps climbing that list for me. I mean, the way he can come out and just put a team on his back.
I mean, there's no one out there with him. I mean, no one.
Nobody.
Name the names. I mean, there's no one.
I mean, I seen a clip on X earlier today, and it's Steph looking at. I think it was Gary Payton. He was like, "Give me the ball," and he came down and he had a pump fake behind the back, and I mean, he was going full speed down the lane. I mean, he just stopped on a dime, and the dude was 4 foot past him, hit a little mid range jumper, and I was just like, what he's doing right now is incredible. No Jimmy Butler, 7 seed. Granted, they're better than a 7 seed, obviously, whenever you have Steph Curry. But I mean, what he's doing right now is incredible. And
they got the best draw they could have on that side.
Oh yeah.
The Rockets is by far the team you want to see out of the host everybody on the West, because the Rockets, like you said, they don't have a go-to player, and you really, I mean, this is not the regular season.
Just a bunch of inexperienced. Yeah. I mean, just for the guys that are go-tos for the Rockets are your young players that are inexperienced. Right, their experience comes in the form of Dylan Brooks and Van Vliet, right? Guys that you're not like, okay, we're giving them the ball, like,
right. But so, I mean, my biggest thing I want to say about that is for all you people out there listening, if you're watching the NBA playoffs, do not take advantage of watching this right now, because it's not much longer that you're going to be able to watch this. And he's one of the greatest players that we'll ever see in our lifetime. I can guarantee you that. So that's my biggest thing.
Absolutely. I love watching. I've never been. I mean, they're the one team that if they're on late at night, even during the regular season, that I'm checking out just because of Steph Curry. I'm not much to watch on the NBA during the regular season, but he is one that anytime he's on, I mean, you just don't know what's about to happen. But I've enjoyed the Knicks and Pistons and the Celtics and Magic. And mainly because like the Magic and the Pistons are both about the same. They're a couple years too early, right? They're scrappy. They're young. They don't know how to win yet because they
both got a stud too, and Ben Carroll and Cunningham.
Exactly. So they just haven't been there. They don't know how to win yet. Close games. So I enjoy getting to see that because I think the league's in good hands,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you have a lot of young up and coming teams of these franchises that have been bad for so long now.
Yep.
So I've enjoyed watching some of these younger teams that have not made the playoffs in a long time and been so down be competitive because you can just see, now maybe if when you see that, you start seeing like stars that don't really want to go to those markets normally. Say, hey, they've got good young players there. Maybe you get one of these really good stars come in. So I enjoyed watching those series. But DG, let us know how you feel about this Lakers T
Well,
Wolves
real quick, and
series.
the Nuggets and Clippers also have been
Oh
very
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah,
And I
that's
didn't realize the Clippers
expected.
that's
were
like a
that
veteran series. Like
deep.
that's their
Yeah, it
one.
was.
Like
It is.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
full of them.
veteran series. Like you just got a
yeah,
bunch of guys that's been there
that's
and they're just
good
going at
basketball
it.
you're
Yeah,
watching. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna
Oh, hats
talk
pulling
about
back,
the
Bruce.
Lakers because I've had recently some people talk to me about the Lakers, and I don't care. Anybody can talk to me about the Lakers and talk to me about LeBron. Bring it. Don't care. But I first off, I want to start out with the foul that was at the end of the game. It's utterly ridiculous. LeBron fouls Anthony Edwards. He hits him right here on the wrist, right here. I mean, it may have been right in here, whatever bone you want to call that, but the wrist area. Your hand is part of the basketball,
It's true.
and that's actually in the rule book for people who don't know. The hand is part of the basketball.
Yep.
Now, not the wrist, but I mean, this right here, I mean, that's pretty much as close as you're going to get to being on the hand. And, whenever we brought on Chad and we was talking about LeBron, like I said, the league itself has been against LeBron the time he moved. And the reason I say that is because if these roles were reversed, if LeBron James would have been, he would not have got that foul call. Would not have got it. Okay, and I'm going to go even deeper. If it was Michael Jordan who would have had that, they would have absolutely not called it. They wouldn't have called the foul. But because it's LeBron, we're gonna call it. Because that is not a foul, and especially in that moment. What are we doing? Now, moving on to the storylines. I can already see it tomorrow on First Take on ESPN. All the headlines are going to be LeBron didn't score in the fourth quarter. LeBron didn't score in the fourth quarter. And here's what I'm going to say to that. The man is 40 years old. The man played 46 out of the 48 minutes in the game. He finished with 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. If you was watching the game, he was relentless on defense. He was exerting all of his energy on the defensive end. He was killed. He's 40 years old, 27, 12, and 8. My goodness, what are we going to talk about? It's always got to be LeBron's fault. That's not what this headline should be. It's not what the headline should be. The headline should be what I told you all last episode or the episode before that. The Lakers have no bench, and that's what it is. They have no bench, and also he's having to play all kinds of minutes. Let me tell you, or actually, there's two things. He has no bench, and he has no center that can produce any offense. Jackson Hayes is their starting big man. Do you all know how many points Jackson Hayes has had in this series?
You know how many
7
minutes he
points.
plays?
7 points.
Yeah, he plays like the first 4 minutes of the game and then doesn't come back
Yeah,
in.
but I'm saying though, that's your
know.
start. Like that's your starting center. Like how in the world? Okay, well, and then, but seriously, the biggest story though, and I know I've said, but is the bench play again? Today's game, Lakers 6 points to the Timberwolves 25.
He played.
It frustrates me so much. And then the game before that, Mason, LeBron, he played 41, I think, minutes out of the 48 minutes. Like, we're talking about a guy who is, what else can he do? I mean, for this series, Colton, LeBron is averaging 26 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. You can't say that he's not showing up. It makes no stuff because that's what's going to make me so mad is whenever they're talking about LeBron and all this. Like it. That's not the headlines. The headlines, and I get it. I get it. He didn't score in the fourth quarter, but I mean, my goodness, are we going to pick like every little thing? I mean, he's 40 years old and he had 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. He didn't win, but that's what I'm talking about. Like the days of LeBron carrying a team against a good team. Now, I will say this. If they were playing the Rockets, they might get away with it. I really do, because that's an inexperience. But this Timberwolves team is a good basketball team, and they're deep. They are. They have a good bench, and they have a lot of guys who can fill it up. It's aggravating as a Lakers fan, and I knew this was coming. I told you all, like, they're not going to go deep. They're not, because they just don't
That
have the bench.
that's the biggest thing, Dylan. Like I watched the entire game today, and I may have missed something in the second half, because I'm running around with kiddos and whatever. But I'm almost positive that JJ Redick did not make a single substitution in the
No,
second
they
half.
didn't.
He didn't. They
They
didn't.
they
Not a
both.
They
single
said
one.
it. They said it.
They
So that
played
hurt
the
to the bench
same.
points also. I mean, they didn't get a chance in the second half.
Yeah, but they can't. That's the biggest thing. Like Dylan's been talking about, and I agree, Dylan. I mean, like LeBron's coming out here and he's giving it everything he has. And people are going to say, "Oh, you need to take the last shot." Get out of here with that. I mean, he had two people on him. He made the best play possible to give his team the best chance to win. You want him to jack up a three with two people in his face? No, kick it to the guy right next to you who has a better look and give them
Who
the
hit four
opportunity to make it.
threes, and Austin Reeves
And
had hit four
all in the
threes.
second half. All in the
Dumb.
second half, Dylan. I know. All right, Colton, let's hear what you guys say because we know you're going to say something.
Look, I don't. I mean, it's not that big of a. Yeah. Hey, did the Mavs win the trade? I mean, you don't have a center now because you got rid of Davis. You don't have a bench because you gave up some guys too. I mean,
I don't
let's be
understand
honest,
though. I don't understand the Dalton Connect not playing at all. Like, I
I
think
don't
JJ
either.
Redick,
Like
I
what?
think he's a good coach, but I just don't know why. Like, before everything happened in the trade, before he was sent over, he was playing.
Yeah,
You
And
know
it
he
was
can give you some offense. Why
Yeah.
not put him in there?
Yeah. So my
I mean,
thing,
6
I
points.
wonder how much Connett has been like checked out since, like how much he's not want to be there since he got traded, and if that's caused any problems. No, look, I mean, obviously, none of those should be the headlines. Look, at 40 years old, what LeBron's doing is amazing. It is. There's no doubt about that. But and so it's not his, nothing to do with that game. It's his fault. But that's the type of thing that's always been like those type of knocks, and it's not like to me. It's not like I said. It's nothing like that. It's just that even in his prime, like when the Heat, those when I said that the other night about the Mavs series. Like, LeBron's IQ is unreal. He makes great plays. He makes great passes, and that's probably my favorite thing about LeBron is that I think his IQ is unreal. Like that, he's always made great plays for everyone. But it's just one of those that now, how many times did Kobe Bryant miss the game-winning shot? Several, right? Jordan probably missed it several. But what you knew at the end of the game is that we knew you were the best player in the world. Like at that time, they knew that they was like but they took it. They took it, and you were
Yeah,
going to
but
live with it.
LeBron's not the best player in the world right now, though, and he's not.
No, I'm not saying that, but he didn't do it in the match. What I'm
And
saying
there's
is, it's
also
not
another
just that now.
difference.
What I'm
There's
saying though is, you can't just say it now at 40 years old. You can say that if he'd have always done it, and then at 40 years old, I can get that. But that's one of his things that he's always been known for. Is like, why didn't you go do it? Like, why didn't you go do it in the like? If he scored 27 points in the first three quarters. What's 5 points in the fourth, right? Or what? I mean, like that's my thing about it is I get it. You're running on fumes. He's played the whole. Like I'm not saying like it's amazing
I don't
what
know,
he's doing
Cody.
at 40 years old.
I get what you're saying, but man,
But
46 minutes in an NBA game, dude. I mean,
right,
and he's playing
but
defense. I mean, yeah, I
And
think he could
did you
have
see?
scored 4 points, yes, but I'm just saying, like, and also before you get into my side, I do want to say this too. There's a big difference between Kobe and Michael and LeBron because here's another big difference. When Kobe and Michael take those last second shots, nobody's counting. Nobody's giving all like
Bingo. I was about to say that.
nobody's counting their last second shots, but every time that LeBron takes the last second shot, everybody's counting them and saying, "Oh, you
It's a
missed it again.
lose-lose.
You
It's a
missed it
lose-lose.
again." And then if you don't take it, "Oh, you didn't take it." But there's a big difference. I'm telling you, the NBA, they have had it out for LeBron from day one.
But
Don't understand it, never will.
I mean, you say that, but at the same time, I mean, before he was even in the NBA, they were crowning him king the future, the chosen one. You know what I'm saying?
He
You don't get
was.
all those things.
He was. Nobody else was.
I know he was Nike. Everyone else, every sponsor was putting him out there as
Knocking off the
the
league,
chosen
though.
one. You are if you're paying that much money to the league. Like I mean, like LeBron's been the face since he got in there.
Do you think, though, okay, today, though, do you think Michael Jordan, they would have called that foul on him if he would have slapped the
I'm not
hand?
saying they wouldn't have, but how many fouls? And I mean, look, LeBron's a physical specimen. So like, yes, there's been several times that people, but there's also been times when early on in his career that LeBron made a living at getting to the free throw line because I mean, you couldn't stop him though. Like, I mean, like he was so physical that everything was going to be a foul. And the thing
I
is,
would,
teams couldn't
I would
even
have to
risk
look
it.
that up because I know within the last like 5 years, I know last year I saw a stat where he wasn't even like, I forgot what it was, like top 20 in the like league attempts. Like they don't, the league doesn't give him many. Now today he did, but on average, he doesn't get
But
many.
But a lot of that today, did you see how physical they were being with him every single possession? And you know that's probably part of their game plan, right? I mean, he's
Mason, are you
exhausted.
Mason? The NBA is not physical. It's a little kid league now. Back in the
Right,
'90s, that's
right,
whenever it was physical. This is
right,
what are you talking about?
right. I mean, every possession down the floor, they had two hands on that man, shoving him,
How many free
holding
throws did he
him.
shoot today?
It is like I said, he shot. I think it was 17, maybe he was 15 for 17.
Yeah.
I said today though, like I'll have to find the ranking on like where he ranks among like free throws attempted. Like it's not, he doesn't get as many calls as probably people think.
But that's my biggest thing, Dylan. Like you said, I mean, that's as a LeBron fan, that's my biggest thing. Like sometimes, yes, I wish he would take the shot, but like today, for example, like he couldn't have took that shot. I mean, that wasn't a good shot. I don't want him taking that shot today. But
Right.
the thing is, like coming down to those type of things, taking the last shot, like Dylan said. I mean, it's a lose lose for him. You take it and you miss it. Oh, Kobe and Michael would have made it. Oh, you don't take it, you pass it to somebody else. Oh, Kobe and Michael would have took it and they would have made it. And I get the thing too about, he didn't score in the fourth quarter. I get that. But like I said, the man's 40 years old. He just played an entire NBA game and he's diving on the floor, different possessions. He's got dudes shoving him constantly when he's coming down the floor. I mean, that man is giving it all he has. And
Yeah.
he did everything he could to put his team in position to
Yeah.
succeed. So if they come out with these takes, like you said, Dylan, it is, let me take a Stephen A word here. That is blasphemous. All right.
Yeah.
That is
I mean,
absolutely blasphemous.
it's
Well,
not
hold
like
on
I
before
said.
you go,
Those aren't takes. I mean,
So
go
I
ahead.
did find it. I did find it. So in 2022-2023 season, LeBron averaged 6.2 free throw attempts per game, which was 20th in the league. I mean, you think about all the stars in the league and how physical you talk about how physical LeBron is. I know, I'm sure, and I agree with
But
you.
that's at 39.
And
He's not attacking what he was younger.
I'm just saying though, like it does, like he still is like he's
A lot
still
of it has to do with
treated.
because he's so strong too, Like if he was the size of Michael Jordan, he'd have got three times as more foul calls. It's just because he's so big and strong and people kind of, I'm not gonna say that, yeah, they use it against him almost, because he absorbs so much more than anybody else would. But
Yeah. I, here's like I said, and it's not even LeBron not taking that last shot, right? To me, like someone like Luka probably needs to take that shot and you just live with it. But that's the thing is like Kobe misses, Michael misses. Yes, the takes are going to come out, and it would come out from the people that didn't like Jordan or the people that didn't like Kobe back in the day. The same thing is going to come out for LeBron when he takes it and misses. But at the end of time, you're going to look back and you're going to say like that guy should take it, right? You live with it as, and I'm not even talking about that one shot, but like you want it, you want the game to be won or lost by your greatest player. And that's simple as that. If LeBron takes over the last 6 minutes and he don't hit, you lost it, but he was your greatest player. If you got a one drive to win the game, you're putting Tom Brady out there. If you need a home run, you're putting Babe Ruth out there. The greatest of all time, like bottom of the night, 2 outs, the greatest of all times. You're putting these guys up there and you're living with it. If they don't come through, they don't come through.
No,
And
I
that's my
agree with
biggest
that.
thing. That's
I'm
my
not
biggest thing with
disagreeing.
LeBron. Like if
But
he
like
goes
also
and
though,
he
Kobe, you
shoots
got
it,
to count that he's 40 years old. He's played 46 minutes. Like we can't just take these variables out of the
right, but you
game.
can't
Like we
account for it
cannot
if the
take.
same thing happened in this prime with the Heat. Right? It's not just
He
now that they're
took
knocking
over a lot of
him for
games at
that.
the Heat during his
that was
prime,
one
though.
series.
What
That
I'm
was one
saying though,
series.
they're not this ain't the only time it's happened in LeBron's career. It's not. Like at 40 years old, it's not the only time it's happened.
It
Oh,
happened
well,
in the Mavs series, and that's about it. Other than that, he's like played very well and tried to
He's
take those
had different
shots.
times that he did not take the last shot.
yes, but he's also had many where he's made the last shot. But here's my thing: as a coach, as a fan, as an avid lover of basketball, I want my guy to do what's going to give me the best opportunity to win a game. If he's double teamed and he has a guy wide open in the corner that shoots at 38% from the three, I'm going to tell him to pass the dang ball. Like, give us the best opportunity to win the game. Yes, I get it. Live and die by your best player. But no, I'm not. I don't agree with that as a coach. If you have two people guarding you and you have somebody wide open, you trust your teammates. That's why we're a team, right? If you have somebody that you know can knock down that shot and they have a better opportunity, they have a higher percentage chance to make that shot, give them the opportunity to do it. And that's
Well,
what LeBron does.
you are living and dying by your best player because they're making the best decision for the team at that moment. If somebody's open, okay, let me
Exactly.
give you this example. Did you watch the Joker? Did you see that last second shot that he had the other night? He went off the right leg. No.
Yes.
It's not a good example, Cole, because a teammate bailed him out. That was
But
not a good shot.
he drew two guys that caused the other guys to be
Exactly.
out of.
That's what LeBron
But he
did
shot
today.
it. He shot it.
Oh, he shot it on his
Bailed
right
out.
foot going the other way and shot an air ball and got bailed out. That's not a good shot for a last second shot.
I'm not saying the shot in general
So
was
time out.
good,
Time
but the
out.
best
Hold on.
player took it, drew two guys to him to take the
Hold on.
shot, and left other guys open.
So you're telling me in the exact
that
same
makes
situation.
No sense.
No, in the exact same situation, you think that was a better chance of Aaron Gordon getting that and putting it in before the buzzer than LeBron passing it to somebody else to shoot a wide open shot?
What I'm saying, if Jokic misses
Answer
that,
the question. Answer the question.
what'd you say? What'd you say?
So you're saying in these exact situations here, you would rather Jokic take that shot with two people on him falling away, he airballs it, than let's say LeBron pass it to somebody who's wide open and take that shot. You think he has a better chance
Yes.
of making that than
No,
LeBron passing?
look, it's not. I mean, yeah, I'd still rather. Here's the thing: if Joker misses that and they go to overtime, there's not a word being said today about Joker missing that shot. There's not. There's not a thing. And if LeBron takes that
Yes,
shot,
you are correct. You are correct. You are correct right now.
But there
It's
is
not.
about LeBron.
There is
but
about LeBron. There's about LeBron.
he took the shot though. He took it because he was
And
the best player on the court.
And that's whenever it would have
that's
come
not
out that
always the right thing to
LeBron.
do.
Don't call yourself the
that's
greatest and don't go take it.
No,
over.
that's what makes him the greatest player of all time because he makes the right decisions every single time. He may not be a killer like Michael Jordan is.
Cone, I don't understand how, like, you are such a great basketball mind that you're refuting saying that he made the wrong decision almost by not taking a double wide open shot with a guy who hit 4 threes in the second half and had hit it.
And my argument is not necessarily on the final shot as much as it is the whole quarter in general. There is no more important quarter as the fourth quarter, and there's too many times that the man is not taken over the fourth quarter.
There's a lot more times that he has.
But there's still too many times that he hasn't. And that's the whole point of it, is that there's not very many times you look back in the careers.
I guarantee you if I go dig right now, I'm going to dig for our next episode. You wait. I'm going to come back with times that Kobe and Michael did not take over in the final quarter and they both lost. You wait. You wait.
No, you have to do it in the playoffs, though. You can't do it anytime else. Go find.
George didn't make it out of the playoffs his first 6 years, Colin. I guarantee you I can't.
Go find a game that Jordan and Kobe didn't score in the fourth quarter in the playoffs.
All right.
If you can find me a game they didn't score in the fourth quarter in the playoffs.
No, you said take over.
No,
you said take over.
No. LeBron scores 4 points in the fourth quarter. They win. 4 points. That's it.
That's
false.
I'm
going to find you some examples.
They have
it's just scoring. I'll be back.
Now we're stretching it by just saying all you got to do is score 4 points.
3 straight games in the Heat series he didn't score. We're not talking about scoring 4 points. We're talking
that's
about
one series,
scoring.
And that's something that me and Dylan have both said that drives us crazy about LeBron. He did not perform in that series. That's one series. But I guarantee you I can go back and find some series with both Kobe and Michael where
you cannot find any of
4 more. They could have scored.
You cannot find any of six
six
Michael's championships that he did not score in the fourth quarter. I can promise.
Why are we only counting as 6 championships? Let me go back
because
to LeBron's
that's all that
championships.
matters.
He didn't score 0 points in the fourth quarter in any of those championships, did he?
But Michael didn't lose.
That's all that matters.
He didn't lose any.
But
And
Well, we're
he
not.
can
listen,
We're
have.
not. We're not talking about the GOAT. Why are we? Why do we bring? I'm just like you're.
like if Michael had lost in the championship, then you could go back and say, what did he do in that fourth quarter? And then you could knock him on it. Oh, did he
Okay, let me go back. Let me go back in the series that he lost then, because
in the
he did lose in the
championship?
playoffs.
This isn't a
Yeah, but Coach,
championship. Why
you're
are we
only
talking about
talking about.
that?
Yeah, you're only talking about the
I
championship
just
now, and you said it was only like it. Like all I'm stating, and from the very beginning, is that the expectations of LeBron is unfair in the sense that we still expect the unexpected from him at 40 years old. Like we've got like, and that's my main thing with these headlines that are going to come out probably. Like it's just, and yes, I will sit here and say he should have scored at least 2 to 4 points in the fourth quarter. Yes.
He should have.
But here's the thing. I'm not going to question him because I am not 40 years old and I have not played 46 out of 48 minutes. I don't care what anybody says, man, you got to stop saying. No, you've got to account that because the man is exalting all of his energy. I mean, they literally did not come out of the game. Like they're
How long this man's been doing this for,
and
too?
I'm not saying that as a full excuse, but I'm just saying like sometimes I think that he's trying his best to save some energy and get other guys involved, which he always has, is getting other guys involved. He can't take over a game like he used to. I said that whenever we had the GOAT debate. He can't. He's 40 years old. He can have spurts where he can, but for like the whole game itself, like Anthony Edwards, Luca, like
Like the first half. I mean, he pretty much took over
yeah,
that first
he
half. He
did.
had what,
Yes.
22, 23 in the
Yes,
first
he
half?
came out hot. He came out hot, but it slowly deteriorated.
Exactly.
It's just it happens. But anyways, let's get on to another professional sports and our segment. The Zurich Classic concluded this past weekend. The
Oh, what a
PGA.
call.
This is our only, or not our. I wish I was part of the PGA, but this was the only team event that the PGA hosts. You had the first time winners on the PGA. Ben Griffin and Andrew Novak. Novak has been trending, fellas. It was kind of one of those things where it was kind of just
hey, he's
expected.
one of
Like
my picks.
when's it going to
What a
happen?
call. What a call.
He's had 3 top 5s this season, coming off a second place in a playoff hole at RBC Heritage in South Carolina, where he lost in the first playoff hole against Justin Thomas. So Andrew Novak, he's trending, fellas. He's bumped his way up to 6th in FedEx Cup points. Are we possibly looking at a Ryder Cup team member here? I mean, is
Yeah,
that
you're. Well, you'll see. I mean, especially, I will say the good thing about this event is that you get a little preview, right? You get to see how some guys perform in an alt shot format, and you get to see how some guys do in that type of stuff. So, I mean, you never know. I mean, right now those final like 3 or 4 spots are up for grabs. Like on paper, I think we could all build a team who we think we kind of want, but the reality of it is, if they're not playing that good, I mean, kind of hard to really put him in there. Yeah, he's been trending. I mean, I mean, JT talking about him playing with him that time he shot 59 in the practice round. Like, I mean, so obviously the guy is a ball striker. But I mean, they were one of my picks just because Griffin's another one that if you get everybody attention to him, he makes a lot of cuts and he's kind of always around that like top 25. Just like in a lot of tournaments. And he kind of goes just undersleep because he never like really threatens the leaderboard, like threatens the top 10 a whole lot, but he's always kind of like having a pretty good tournament. So the way Novak was playing, I just really like that pick. So
just, and people will know this, but just for our sake, we're going to say it says that Damian Lillard suffered a left Achilles tear.
oh well, I saw him not get up. Like they were like, I was like,
They're
what is he
replaying it
doing?
right now on mine. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Man,
That's
hate that.
that's awful. And I mean I tell you what, the Bucks, I think the Bucks just need to blow it up.
Yeah, trade Giannis and get a
Get
lot.
what you can out of Giannis.
yep.
Keep some of your young guys if you got any some promising. Get some picks and maybe get some younger, just decent role players in there and see if you can draft kind of high
Yeah.
going forward
No,
with some
I
picks.
agree. I think you get what you can out of him right
But
now.
as far as the tournament goes, I'll just give a quick on the tournament. I enjoyed it. It's the only team event that's an actual PGA Tour event on the season. The alt shot, it's funny to see. I mean, they went low for the 4 ball, both segments.
Yeah.
The alt shot, though, is where, the tournament's won. The ones that are able to shoot the 4 to 6 unders on the alt shot compared to the ones who shoot even par or 1 or 2 under, or even over par. We wanted to bring up, Rory and Lowry were the heavy favorites coming into this. They
I
were
was
there.
wrong on that.
Well, I mean, they were there up until, and I'll just be honest with you, it makes me wonder going forward in these type of tournaments that Rory plays in, how much focus is really going to be. And look, Rory played pretty good. I mean, him and Lowry both had times when they were playing good, and the other one was not playing as good. But like there on today, it kind of went a little backwards early. They weren't making the birdies that they needed, and how much of that contributed to the when they come out and the way they finished, come out and contributed to like Rory, but kind of being like, what do I need this tournament? Like the competitiveness about him is always going to wanting to win, but the reality of it is outside the majors now. I mean, how much is he outside the majors? The players, some of the signature events that maybe he wants to win, and the Ryder Cup. How much of it is he going to play in any tournament and just be like, do I? I mean, it's all right if I ain't got it. That's all right. Like he seemed happy, he seemed loose. He was laughing the whole time when things went wrong. He was like smiling. It wasn't like he was like talking to him, which is good to see for Rory. I'm happy to see him because I mean he doesn't have anything left to prove, but it will be interesting to see how much focus he has going forward.
Well, I think for Rory though, that's a good point. But in this, I guess what I'm trying, Rory has to channel something to want him to compete. Like, what is his next go? Like, because he has conquered that. Like that's what drove him. That's what woke him up in the mornings, wanting to be great. So he's got to find some goal, whether it be. Let's say, how many times has he won on tour? What is it? Is it
I don't know.
26? Is it?
No, it's much more. I
I
think
was
so.
wrong.
I would think it's more. I think it's in the 30s at least.
Okay. Well, but y'all get what I'm trying to say. Like, he's got to, okay, this season I want to win 4 times. I want to go down as the 5th most, because I don't know that he's going to catch some of those guys up there on wins, but he's got to find something that drives him, because this is what has been driving him. He's already conquered. So I do agree with you. Like, he seems relaxed, which can be great, but also it can be, it can hurt your game, because you kind of like, you get complacent. You're like, oh, I've done what I needed to do. Now let's just kind of whatever. Let's just go out there and have fun. I mean, no, PGA is very competitive. You can't just go out there and have fun. I mean, that's clear as day. I mean, you see a new winner, a new PGA winner every week almost now. So that is interesting, though, to think about. Mason?
Yeah, so I'll keep it kind of short. We're kind of getting up on time here, but first thing, I mean, cool tournament, right? I didn't get to watch a whole lot this weekend, but got to see highlights and things. Like we said last episode, I wish they do some more stuff like this. It's fun to see. Kind of gives you that, like Colton said, that Ryder Cup style, the alt shot and different things. So it's fun to see on the tour and exciting. And Dylan, going back to what you said, I agree. He needs to have something to kind of play for. But at the same time, I feel like that's been on his back so long and been in the back of his mind that now he's just going out there. He's playing the best golf he has in a long time right now. And he's like, I'm just going to go out here. I'm going to play the best I can. And sometimes you go out there and you just play like that, and that's the best golf you play, just carefree. Hey, if I have a bogey, it's all right. I'll get it back next hole, or I'll get it back in 2 holes, So, like, I think this is a big thing for Rory. I think he does still need to have, and I think he will, as competitive as Rory is. Hey, I want to win, or, I need to be top 5, this many tournaments and win this, this, and this. But I think now Rory kind of just has a little bit of a new mindset towards things, right? He's kind of changed his swing a little bit. He's kind of worked things out in his personal life. It kind of seems like things are starting to click for him, and mentally he's in all the right headspace that he needs to be right now. So I think he's in a great spot, and hopefully he just comes out and continues to play loose, because I think it's fun to watch Rory whenever he's playing like this.
Yeah, I agree. What's the next signature event? Is it the
next signature event?
Or what's the next big tournament I'm trying to think of?
PGA Championship.
Is that what it is? I mean, that's what I thought.
It's like 3 weeks from now.
So I mean, that's another one where Rory's going to be going into as a. Y'all think he'll be favored over Scotty?
Yes.
Maybe. I mean, maybe will.
He's won it all, right?
I do think. Yeah. Hell yeah. So that is that Rory plays.
I think he will be.
I mean, I think Scotty is teeing up this week at the Byron Nelson. So it's not a signature event. So it'd be maybe Scotty. I feel like if Scotty gets a win at all,
He's
like
gonna open the
before, like
floodgates too.
yeah, I'm just waiting for him to, but
Yeah.
we'll see how he goes too. But yeah, Rory's won at Quail Hollow before. I mean that would be his goal, right? Rack up the majors now, see if he can't win them all. I mean that one is the Open is like right down the road from his home. So I mean I know that's going to be a focus one. So
Well, this is been a fun episode. Got a little bit into LeBron talk as always, but
Right.
I guess we'll see how everything goes with the NFL players. Ultimately, we was pretty happy about the results from the Big Blue Nations, like head to the Bills, and then the golf. I mean, it is what it is. Rory, though, we'll see. I was wrong, though. Like I said, I was really wrong about the Rory Shane 6+ strokes. Yeah, that didn't shape out the way it's supposed to be. But Colton, you had a good call. You was good on it. So
Great call. Great call.
all right, guys, that ends another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. As always, go Cats.
go
Go
Cats.
Cats.
That's a wrap for this episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, be on the lookout for our social media pages and be sure to follow them. We've got plenty more stories, insights, and conversations coming your way. And if you really loved it, make sure to share it with a friend. From the hills to the hollers, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep that Kentucky spirit strong.